You know, everybody wants to save a buck these days, don't they? And let's face it, so do we, on the road, especially on the road, because we need the money for the fuel, which is so expensive. We've got a few steaks left over, and we've got a few tins that came out of the cupboards. Perfect to knock up a quick stew, especially given that it's early morning and we can whack it in the Shuttle chef. It'll be ready by lunch or even by dinner. It's going to be absolutely magic. Here's how we do it. I'll just get the pot going. Look at that pot. It looks like brand new, doesn't it? And yet you can see from the Shuttle chef that this Shuttle chef has been around Australia a couple of times. It's been over the Simpson, it's been up and down Cape York 3 times. It's looking a bit more dinged than my truck, but by crikey, it's done a great job. It still works perfectly. And look at that pan, still magic. It's the best one I've got. When you've got meat scraps like this and you're making a stew, it really pays to chop them up fairly small, I reckon, as much as anything, because then you spread them out a little bit more throughout the stew. It's nothing quite worse than sitting there with a bowl full of veggies and water and the other guy got the piece of meat, is there? So I like to chop them up nice and small. There we go. That's my steak. In she goes. And that's cracking along already there. You need some liquid with a stew. Red wine, marvellous. Onions, marvellous. We haven't got any today. I do, though, have this box of chicken stock. Chicken stock with beef actually works really well. There we go. Want to add a few things. Peas. Beautiful. Because they're green as much as anything. You've got to have something green in a stew to go with the white. And how lazy is this? Tiny taters, they're already peeled, they're half cooked, they're already in the tin. Even the right shape for my stew. In they go. Now, so far we haven't got a lot in there, have we really? Chicken stock, spuds, bit of beef. Time to add some flavour. Poor old soy sauce bottle. It's been up and down the Cape a couple of times too. That's because soy is a very strong version of salt. So you don't need too much. Good splash. Soy and beef goes together beautifully. I don't know why, but it always has done always well. Someone told me once that oyster sauce is much the same as soy sauce. Well, I reckon they taste different. I've got the oyster sauce. I like to add it to a stew. Always. Good old dollop of oyster. Sometimes I think you could do without the beef, potatoes and peas as long as you got enough oyster. There we go. Now, here's the old shearer's cook stew method, all right? So far, this is all fairly conventional. A lot of people like to add a bit of curry. It's not a curry, so let's just add a little bit, about a teaspoon, okay? And of course, shearer's cook special. I've got mandarin and orange marmalade. Any sort of marmalade, most types of jams, not the lemon ones, they're a bit sweet. Always good in a stew. Nice big tablespoon. If you haven't got jam, or if you just can't bear the thought of someone seeing you put jam in your stew, try honey. It's really good too. Just a little bit of sweetness to pick it all up. Okay, now with the Shuttle chef, all I have to do now is give all this a nice stir. The jam will be about the last thing to break up, it always is. And then we'll get it boiling, whack it in the chef, put it back in the truck, and sometime around lunchtime maybe we'll pull up to eat. Although with Jack on hand, you never know, it could be morning tea. And in she goes into the Shuttle chef. It'll be ready by lunch.